When you were prime minister, the world and governance and democracy looked very different, in many ways more stable than it does today. If you were prime minister today, if you were a leader on the global stage, what would you do differently as a consequence of that now than back in the days of cool Britannia?
So I would be doing two things, because I think for the West to be, for me, it's all about the West being strong, able to defend its values and its interests in an era where the geopolitics of the 21st century is going to change dramatically because of China. So my view is, number one, the West has got to be a strong alliance. And if there is any benefit coming out of the ghastly events in Ukraine, it is that alliance has strengthened. And that means America and Europe and then our allies around the world, including in the Pacific, we stick together, we stay together, and we're more effective together. Because the second thing I would say is the biggest challenge to democracy is efficacy. When you follow a lot of the media debate, it's all about transparency or accountability. It's not, it's about effectiveness. And this is where I come to the second thing, which is, in my view, the big real world event is this technology revolution. And if you're looking at healthcare today or education today, or how people are going to work, how government functions, it's all about understanding that revolution. And its transformative potential. And what the West needs is not just a strong foreign policy, it needs a strong domestic mission, right? And that should be about this technology revolution and how you harness it. But to do that, the West politics have got to return to a strong center, because that's what we had when I was in office. And the center, not as the split between left and right, which I think is a 20th century, left-right politics is so 20th century. Right? The real issues today are really practical, not ideological. But the center should be the place where you make the changes that match the scale of the challenge. If you take your three, power crisis, your three crises, that is the challenge. And the answers to those are not really to do with traditional left and right. They're to do with understanding what these changes mean, and then systemically changing the systems that grew up in that 20th century and are no longer fit for the 21st.
So I'm telling you, if you were campaigning, I kind of feel 21st century third way is what you're talking about.
Yeah, but this is correct in the end. I mean, what we, this is what I often say to people in the Labour Party when they say to me, Tony, we can't go back to 1997. And I say, no, we can't. But the trouble is, you guys want to go backwards. You want to go pre-1997. I agree. Today, all the things we were talking about then have accelerated. They're not diminished or fallen away. I mean, when Bill Clinton and I were launching the initiative around the human genome, and I always remember him saying to me at the time, I think this is one of the most important things we'll ever do, which turned out to be true. Not that I really understood it fully at the time. But you fast forward to today, it's even more important, right? So this is why I think that the problem is the populism in the West. It succeeds when the center can't solve the problems. And I always say to people, populism doesn't invent grievances. By and large, it doesn't invent them. It exploits them. So if you take immigration, for example, you've got to deal with immigration. If you don't have an immigration policy today, which provides controls over it, even if you're telling people immigrants do a great job in our economy, but you still need control. If you're not in that space, the populist is going to come along and exploit that issue. So it's all about, in my view, the retrieval of that strong, clear center. And, this is where politics has got to reach out beyond the ranks of professional politicians who spent their whole life doing nothing but politics, and understand the world, embrace it, and then change it